We are now going to show you how to complete Form 5A, Vertebrate Animal Form. And this is specific for all research involving vertebrate animals that is conducted at a school, a home, or a field research site. This must be approved by the SRC, the Scientific Review Committee at your school, prior to experimentation. The student first completes their name or names and the title of their project. And for this example, we're using Can You Teach an Old Dog a New Trick? So you complete questions 1 through 5 for the student. What is the common name and number of animals used? For this example, we're using a dog or canine, and we're using 5 German Shepherds. Describe completely the housing and husbandry to be provided. Include the cage or pen size, the number of animals per cage, environment, bedding, type of food, frequency of water and food, and how often the animal is observed. Since these are the person's pets, it is not required to include bedding and things like that, but it's mostly for like if you're going to use rodents and you have a cage and have bedding, and that's where you will need to include it. For here we wrote, the dogs each have their own kennel, 5 foot by 3 foot by 4 foot, in which they sleep. They have a half-acre fenced yard to play and exercise in. Each dog receives 2 cups of food per day and have water available all day. What will happen to the animals after experimentation? It is very important to note that you are not allowed to euthanize or kill the animals. So for these, they are their pets and we will keep them at our home. Attach a copy of wildlife license or approval forms if applicable. Now this is going to be if you're using wildlife animals, so you would need to make sure that you have the right licenses or approval forms. And as you can see here, it is the rules require that any death, illness, or unexpected weight loss be investigated and documented by a letter of a qualified scientist, a designated supervisor, or a veterinarian. So if that happens, you must attach the letter with the form when submitting your paperwork. Next, the SRC, the Scientific Review Committee at your school, will make the next determination. Since this experiment is not very difficult, they believe just having a designated supervisor is required, and then they would need to have your designated supervisor sign in the bottom right corner. If this was a more complicated experiment where you're actually giving medications or such, you would most likely have the veterinarian and a designated supervisor required, or a veterinarian designated supervisor and a qualified scientist required. So the SRC is the one that makes that decision. And remember, your adult supervisor cannot be on the SRC. Your SRC would then print their name, and here it's going to be John Lundquist. The date of approval, which must be prior to experimentation, and since these experiments are going to be done during Thanksgiving break, then you would have your SRC sign here. Next, you would bring this over to your designated supervisor, and they must sign or click on both boxes saying that they've reviewed the research and how to take care of the animals, and that they will directly supervise this student while they are trying to teach an old dog a new trick. They would put their name, and this most likely would be a parent. So this is going to be Susan Monroe. They would add their phone number or email address so that we can have a number to contact them if we have any questions. And again, this must be prior to experimentation. You would then save this form, print it out, and have both John and Susan sign in the appropriate location before uploading this to your registration form.